The first generation Lexus IS300 is a fantastic car, but not perfect. Great car for many, but not everybody. And this is what I've learned over 6 months of ownership with our newest project car, the 2003 Lexus IS300 SportCross. First generation Lexus IS300 has always been a conservative styled car. And with that, I believe it has aged quite well. The Altezza taillights that was all the craze in the late 90s, early 2000s, still looks good to me. I still like that look. As far as the dash, the center stack, and the switch controls don't look as dated as 20 plus years would indicate. I love the chronograph dash. This still looks great. Every time I get in the car and I look at that, I am impressed. I think that was a huge deviation that Lexus took a risk on, and I think it paid off. Very stylish and in line with the sport luxury nature of the Lexus IS300. One element of the first generation Lexus that I had to change pretty quickly was the amber lighting for the dash and many of the lights in the center stack. To me, that really dates the car. I think the seats are not great, but they're certainly not bad. The seats we have on here are full leather as opposed to the Alcantara inserts that come in many Lexus IS300s. Although they have no lumbar support, that hasn't seemed to bother me, which usually does. I'm usually sensitive to that. They're not overly bolstered, actually not bolstered all that much. And given that these are smooth leather, I do find myself sliding around a little bit under spirited driving. Interior space is limited. This is a small car. You feel like you're shoulder to shoulder with your passenger. And while the rear seats do have enough room, at least for my teenage kids, my growing son with his long legs are getting a little cramped in the back. I was concerned that given that this car was 20 years old, that it would be very noisy, rattly, squeaky, and we have some of that. But I will say that the ride quality is very impressive and is better than a lot of more recent cars that I have driven. It rides very smooth. The interior is very quiet. You have minimal road noise. The car still feels very solid after 20 years, which is surprising. There are some squeaks from the hatch, from the wagon area under certain conditions, such as backing out of my somewhat steep driveway and going into the dips in the road. You'll get some creaking and moaning. In addition, if you open up the sunroof, you will get some creaking from the roofline. I have not found any issues with having any blind spots. I will say that the side mirrors are rather small, so that takes a little getting used to. Same with the rear view mirror, a little thinner in comparison. And with that said, actually, you have a little bit of blockage because you're sitting higher and the rear mirror is in line with your line of sight, but I have not found it to be overly intrusive. I do think that the steering feels good, especially once you get going. Call it, 10, 15, 20 miles an hour. Steering, it communicates well. It has a nice gradual feel to it. But the negative is when you're at a standstill and you are looking to maneuver at a slower speed, think in a parking lot. I do find that the steering weight does change quite drastically, and that just takes a little bit of getting used to. What I have found in Toyota and Lexus vehicles, having driven plenty of them over the years, one thing that I don't like about them is usually their brake pedal is a little squishy, spongy, non-communicative. It just doesn't have the right feel. It feels as though it's a little dead up top, and then you have to give it a little more pressure towards the bottom. And I absolutely do not feel that way with this Lexus IS300. It's very linear, it has great brake feel, and I'm super impressed by that. The size of the car being a smaller car and relatively lightweight car allows this car to go around corners in a much sportier nature than a lot of modern day cars. I am very happy with the nimbleness of this car. It's a joy to drive and it handles very well. And given that it is rear wheel drive, it communicates very well too what is happening with the rear of the car as far as, is it ready to break loose? Are you losing traction or not? And that does instill a level of confidence. Haven't tested this car 0 to 60. Granted, I am at high altitude here in Denver, Colorado, which sucks the power away from any car. I will say that this car is not fast. It is actually on the slow side. At the higher end of the RPMs, it does lose its grunt. But with that said, the low end torque is phenomenal. If you are a city driver or even a suburban driver like I am, you'll be happy with this. I find that torque,
I don't even feel like I'm gonna get in trouble.
Abundant torque down low in the RPM makes it enjoyable to drive around town, stoplight to stoplight, stop sign to stop sign, any speeds up to 45, 50 miles per hour, I'm absolutely fine with. But above that, you can tell that the car runs out of power at higher speeds and at higher RPMs. Because of that torque being down low and being very accessible and allowing you to enjoy pretty decent drivability around town, it does come at a cost, and that would be the gas mileage. If it's strictly city driving, I am able to get 18 miles per gallon. And if I do a mixture, so think more suburban driving, little less stop and go, I'm able to get 20 miles per gallon. And with that said, you are paying for premium fuel. So it is recommended by Lexus to put at least 91 octane, if not better. With the 2JZ engine, granted this is the GE, the non-turbo, where the GTE is the turbo engine that comes in the famous Mark IV Toyota Supra. This engine has been proven to be one of the best engines for both tuning and reliability over the past many decades. This is a stout engine that will last easily 100, 200, even 300,000 miles or more if you take care of it. And as far as regular maintenance, I have done a lot of regular maintenance since I've purchased this car over the past 6 months. And I can tell you that none of it has been overly difficult, overly complicated. Maintenance is easy to do. The engine is very robust. It is a reliable engine and it will last a long time, again, if taken care of. The first generation Lexus IS300 would be a fantastic first car. And the reason for that is the car is easy to drive, it's smooth, great visibility, still has safety features. Of course, not as many safety features as what you're getting today, but you can buy one of these cars for much, much less, and the reliability is there. If I were looking to purchase a first car and I didn't have a lot of money, I would be looking for a car that looks great, drives well, handles well, and is reliable and easy to maintain. And I think the Lexus IS300 checks all the boxes. Reason why I purchased this car, besides the nostalgia factor, is the 2JZ engine. I am looking to turbocharge this car, to further modify this car, and this first generation Lexus IS300 has proven to be a fantastic platform for that. This car is easily modified. There's a lot of support out there, not just information, but still from a parts perspective. And if you're looking for a cheaper car to modify, whether you're looking to drift the car, track the car, autocross, quarter mile, whatever it might be, this has proven to be a great car to start with. And again, a relatively inexpensive platform to start with. However, if you're looking to get a car, a used car, an inexpensive car that gets great gas mileage or even good gas mileage, this probably isn't the car for you. So with all that said, how do I feel after 6 months of ownership? I am thoroughly enjoying this car. I do find that I routinely go to that car to drive amongst other cars we have if it's been a day or two. I am looking forward to driving that car. There's something about this car that really draws me to it. It could be the smooth and quiet nature of the car. It could be just the nostalgia, and I love the looks, including getting in and seeing that chronograph-based dash. I am glad I purchased this. I know I paid a premium for the SportCross and for the fact that it has less than 100,000 miles, but I do have a feeling I'm going to have this car for quite some time, and I have not been let down by this car. It has been everything that I hoped for, and I hope I continue to enjoy this car for many more years to come.